Hello there and welcome to the channel. If you're new to the channel, welcome to the community. And if you're again watching another video on the channel, thank you so much for being here again. In today's video, we're going to be looking at the laning phase across different ELOs. Now, why is that? Why am I so interested in that? Basically, you should know that as a League player, the longer a game goes on, the death timers also increase. Meaning if you make one mistake or your teammates make one mistake in laning phase, it could cost you the game. Because the enemy team might have like 1 minute to do whatever they want based on how long you're dead, basically. If you're dead for 1 minute, they might actually do Baron, Elder, or even end the game. So it's a lot less forgiving to die in the late game than it is in the mid game or early game. So what is the goal in League of Legends? Is basically to end the game as fast as possible, even though if you're a late game scaling champion, you don't necessarily want to go to that late game. So we want to close the game in the mid game. However, if you have a bad laning phase, that's almost impossible or at least very hard to do. So in today's video, we're going to be looking at the laning phases across different ELOs to show you guys what the difference is between those kind of ELOs and how your laning phase should improve and how you can actually consistently get a hit out of your laning phase so that, yes, indeed, you will be able to close out the game in mid-game. Because I'm not exactly going to show you how to close out the game, I'm just going to show you how you can get good out of laning phase or what the differences at least are between the laning phases across different ranks so that you have an idea of what concepts you might have to learn in order to improve your laning phase so that you can, in fact, close out games in the mid-game. All right, I'll let it play from here because we're going to start a bronze review here. So this is a bronze Talon right now. I took a random player and a random game. So this might not be representative for the entire ELO or even for this player because it's one game. However, we have to start somewhere and I can't possibly review multiple games from multiple persons and multiple ELOs. This video would be like 2 days or something to watch. So we're not going to do that. So we're just going to look at this game here right now. The first thing I didn't really like is that we stood still in base kind of long. So now we might, if we walk like this, there might already be enemies in this brush because they might have walked like this or like this even. And then we didn't see them. So if you walk into this, we can already be trapped. I'm going to fast forward this because we want to be looking at the laning phase, not at everything before the laning phase. Something else I will mention is that currently we did not put a ward yet. So the laning phase is about to start here. We didn't put a ward yet, so that's going to make jungle tracking a lot harder, right? Okay, so we'll let it play from here on out. I already don't like that we're playing super safe here. Qiyana is at level 1, useless, so she should never be allowed to even attack the minions. Also, Talon started W, we should have started Q, and in terms of electrocute, I do prefer first strike. It's better on Talon to have a good economy and get your early power spikes a bit earlier. But this is not allowed, what we're currently seeing here. Also, so first of all, it was not allowed that we waited so long with all-ending the Qiyana. Also, we talked about jungle tracking. Hey, we didn't put a ward here, so it's going to make jungle tracking a bit harder. How do you do jungle tracking? Well, Talon, in this case, should already know. Look, the enemy bot lane is choosing his bot lane right now, and Urgot is not in lane yet. So it appears to be that Urgot leashed the Kindred. So that means that we can assume right now, but because we didn't put a ward, we can only assume that Kindred started here. So in the early game, I would be very careful of positioning here. I would position here. And then around 2 minutes 40, that's basically the time it takes for an average jungler to take 3 camps and then be on this side of the map here. So around 240, you could switch your hovering from here to here. All right, so that's what Talon should be looking at. I'm kind of sure he's not going to do that because in bronze people don't really tend to do that. So here we're playing very safe. Qiyana is kind of fucking up and Talon is punishing her for that. But other than that, Talon is not really playing super aggressive here, which he could. Now we get level 2 and he's not really pushing that advantage. He's level 2 versus 1 and he was not all-inning the Qiyana, which already shows me that he's not really paying attention to that. So far, maybe a bit of lack of jungle tracking, I think, because we didn't put a ward. We weren't aggressive enough at level 1, and level 2 versus 1, we also didn't abuse that. So let's see. Also, we're in a kind of awkward spot right now. The wave is close to Qiyana her side, so he can't really push any advantage right now. He can't take too much of aggressive trades, because otherwise he might take a third shot. And now Qiyana gets level 3 first, actually. So let's see. This is kind of weird. He could have killed Qiyana here. Well, a good Qiyana could have reacted in time. But I do believe that in this elo it was very unnecessary for Talon to flash, and it actually prevented him from getting a kill. So if you look back at this, this is a very big mistake. Because these are the moments that you can get a free kill and then you have to go for it, obviously. So I'm gonna put it in slow motion here. So Talon, the way Talon works is, right now his abilities give a stack on an enemy. Now he hit his W, and it hit as well, like for a second time, when it went back towards Talon. So now there are 2 stacks on Qiyana. If Talon does one more ability, his Q, because his E, he can't do it on champions, just to jump over walls. So if Talon does his Q onto Qiyana right now, she will have 3 stacks, and then his next attack on her will do like a lot of damage over time, like a bleeding effect. It does a lot of damage. It's basically Talon's passive, right? So right now, Talon does have a lot of burst if he uses his Ignite and Q on Qiyana. However, look at the spacing here. He has just walked like this. He could easily walk like this onto Qiyana right now. He doesn't have to flash. Look, Qiyana had to walk like this. Talon could easily keep on walking, and then like whenever he gets in range, jump onto her and then see if he can kill her. Because then if he Qs onto her, does the auto attack to like get the passive off, and ignite her, and then she flashes, he might actually flash after her, do one attack and get out. Now, because he opens with flash, if he can't kill her immediately, she still has the reaction time to flash, obviously. So now, she doesn't even need to flash. She doesn't even need to flash her. So now Talon doesn't have anything, like he doesn't have flash anymore to get onto her. So that's a very big mechanical mistake. Also, it's 255. I wouldn't be comfortable as Talon hovering this side of the map. Like I said, around 240, most junglers take like 3 camps and like get onto their other side of the map. So if we assumed Kindred started here because of the Urgot leash, then right now we have to assume that Kindred is already on this side of the map. So then we shouldn't be able to hover this side. Now let's press on all and let's see if that's the case. That's exactly the case, right? So now you have to be very careful of like getting ganked as Talon. So I wouldn't be hovering this side, I would be hovering this side. We also have an issue right now. Our wave is in a bad spot, right? So you kind of, ideally we want to push this in, or we might lose a lot. Yeah, and exactly, we do get ganked here. We do get ganked, we do get killed very, very easily. Like for the Kindred, a free kill for Kindred, because Talon obviously wasn't paying attention to jungle tracking. I'm gonna speed this up a bit, or this video will take too long. So let's get to lane again. Now we know that Kindred is currently on this side of the map, probably taking Scuttle. Let's see, so we have to be careful of that she doesn't like re-gank us. Now the wave is pushing towards us, so now we have a, look, Qiyana is super low on health and on mana. She can't stay in the lane, so now all we have to do is let this wave push towards us and freeze it here. Right, Qiyana will lose a lot. There's no need for us to push this, because if we push this, then Qiyana is not going to miss as much as when we freeze this. So again, this is lack of wave mechanics. All right, so let's see how this plays out. I'm going to do like ×2 here to see what happens. So we just clear the wave. Again, we are always pushing, not necessarily for a reason here. There's not, like, we don't have to do a lot on the map here as Talon. So we're just pushing for no reason. We're just giving Qiyana free farm here, unless we want to dive her. But that's a lot more risky than just freezing here, right? So let's see what we do. Or what the Talon does here. Oh, okay. So you put a ward there. Doesn't really make sense to put a ward here at 4 minutes 29. Again, jungle tracking. Kindred started here. She ganked us here around 3 minutes. So after she ganked us, she maybe stayed like 1 minute on the map to like take Scuttle and like take red buff and Krugs. Recall then went to her this side of the map probably. So it's very unlikely that Kindred is still on this side of the map. Or at least, like, if she's still there, she's probably recalling, right? So if you press all, yeah, she's just finishing up her last camp. She already took Scuttle, so she's finishing up her last camp here, I assume. Maybe yeah, this is her last, no, wait. She still has to do red buff. Well, Kindred is very, very slow here. But once again, like, you shouldn't be able, this ward doesn't really make sense. Kindred is also low. She just probably wants to take her camps, reset, go to this side of the map. These camps are already respawning, so Kindred is having a bit of a slow clear. So that's something like we might not think of in lower elo bracket. People might actually clear super, super slow and have like a bit of a weird jungle panning. But still, I do not like putting a ward on this side of the map. She should already be on this side of the map. So here we are almost like always perma pushing, not necessarily for a reason, unless we are looking to dive the Qiyana. But like I said, it's not necessary. You can just freeze and deny her a lot of CS. Here again, we kill a wave and we're just walking. We're not looking to roam or anything. We just pushed in a wave to just stay in lane. Something I do see a lot in the lower elo bracket in my coachings as well. If you don't know, I do coach people. If you're interested in that, You can click on the link in the description down below. But basically, the Talon here is perma pushing. Look, he's perma pushing. Now it's good because he can like get a couple of attacks, it's fine. But Qiyana's about to get in lane. Again, we just perma push. You can maybe move towards here, but Talon isn't looking to do that. He is not looking to go to Kindred. Look, lack of map awareness. He refuses to go onto the Kindred here. Okay, he shoves this wave in together with Thresh, and he should get out. We're low on mana, we're low on HP, the next wave is still very, very far away. We could have already been recalling right here, so it would have been a very good angle to recall. Right now, we stay again, we pop up potion and we just stay in lane, and we're not doing anything. We're just hovering here in front of the turret, which is something I do not like. So far, very bad jungle tracking, basically no jungle tracking, also no map awareness, not going to Kindred here, perma pushing for no reason, not abusing level advantages like level 2 versus 1, and not knowing why you're strong enough. Like at level 1, Qiyana is useless, he could have postured a lot more aggressively, stuff like that. Also not the ideal rune setup, and so basically that's like all of these things, they start adding up. That's so far what I'm seeing. We're going to be looking at the first 10 minutes, so 3.5 more minutes, so let's see. Yes, Talon does get surprised here, and he does get picked off. So once again, Serrated Dirk versus Longsword. Why? Because Talon always pushes in waves under the enemy turret. Qiyana can back or like takes a wave, then backs. And Talon is always just hovering in lane. He's never recalling, he's never moving, always staying in his lane. And that's why Qiyana has an item advantage over the Talon right now. Look at the CS. 45 CS versus 29 CS. So Talon does have a CS gap, but not an item difference, right? Like it's an item difference in favor of the Qiyana, because we have very poor recalls, or we don't even recall basically. And now Qiyana just collapses us, he catches the Talon off guard, and he dies once again. Let me speed this up a bit. We stay very long in base here, because this is ×8 basically, so he stayed very long in base. Okay, so Talon decides to push this wave. Maybe he's looking to roam, because he does have ult in 30 seconds, so he can shift in the wave, and then by the time he gets bot or top, he will have his ultimate up. So let's see. Basically, as Talon right now, you want to force something, right? You have 2 sums up, your ult is about to get up, you're full HP, full mana, you just spend all your gold. In terms of itemization, we're playing Talon, and we're playing super passive here in terms of boots, like we're boots rush. But then again, on the other hand, why are we rushing boots if we're facing this team comp? They almost have no magic resist in their entire team comp, and also he's playing versus Qiyana, so Boots Rush, Mercury Threats Rush, doesn't do anything for the Talon. Itemization, super bad, doesn't make sense at all right now, right? And I'm not here to shit on this player, it's definitely not, just here to show you guys these are logical mistakes that you really want to prevent from happening. So again, 2 more minutes, and then we're going to look at silver gameplay. So let's see what's going to happen here. Still, again, you see, always hovering in the mid lane, always hovering, never moving towards here. He could have already been walking towards here, and then by the time you walked here, you can still decide, do I commit to the roam here, or do I stay mid lane? This would have probably been a very good opportunity to get back into the game, maybe get a double kill and get completely back into the game, right? Also, this guy has a very big shutdown. I don't know what I'm seeing right now, but Xayah has 10 kills at 8 minutes. So very big shutdown. So if he gets here, he might actually just kill her with ult and ignite. And that's a very big shutdown. Instead, he just hovers in lane, always walks in lane. Let's see what happens here. Again, he gets all in. The flash was a bit weird, unnecessarily as well, because you're invisible in ult. So you can just walk away in whatever direction you want. Qiyana can't really follow up. So let's see what happens. So the wave's in a bad spot. Talon could have recalled here. He could have immediately recalled, and then yes, Qiyana might have pushed in the wave maybe, but then Talon wouldn't have missed a lot of minions, and he would have been full HP, full mana again. Now he's in a very awkward position here. He kind of needs his jungler at this point. So a recall would have been pretty decent there. Walks up a little bit too much. Let's see, tries to collect the wave. Qiyana gets opportunity here to go here. This is very dangerous. Qiyana can just jump over this wall and collapse the Talon here. Let's see what happens. No, he needs to be way further back. And now he just dies. So once again, it's even unnecessary to walk up. If you look at Talon here, look at Kiana right now. She is perma pushing. She is pushing towards the Talon. That means that she's shoving the wave towards the Talon. So if Talon, he can just collect the wave here under his turret and take all of it, right? All he needs to make sure of is that he doesn't die, but he can E over turret over this wall if Kiana all-ins him, so he should be able to escape. So right now he doesn't need to walk up because she's pushing the wave towards him. So look, why do we walk up here? There's nothing to lose it. Maybe this minion here, but risking your life for one minion doesn't make sense. Just give up this one minion so that you can get all the other minions here because Kiana is pushing towards you. Right? That is what Talon should do. He is greedy and he dies. Right? Now, a lot of mistakes. Already a couple of times I summarized the mistakes. So now we're going to be looking at a game for a silver elo. Alright, so once again, we're going to be looking at the laning phase. This time it's going to be from a silver player. Keep in mind, like I said, with a bronze player, this game might not be representative for the entire elo. Hopefully it is, but I do not know this for a fact. And this game might not even be representative for this person. We don't know if he always performs like this, but like I said, we need to go off of something. Otherwise, this video would take like 2 days to watch if I have to cover multiple players, multiple games in one elo. So and this is going to be the same for every single elo, obviously, that we cover. Now, we're playing Aurelion Sol here versus Vex. This could be, I'm very interested in this matchup, because you have to understand how this matchup works, obviously, because Vex very early on, assassin type of champion. She has Ignite Flash, Electrocute. This Aurelion Sol goes Arcane Comet with Teleport. Obviously, more scaling setup because Aurelion Sol is a scaling champion. So that's already something that he needs to be careful of. Aurelion needs to be safe this lane. He just needs to make sure he doesn't die early on, and that should be fine. Alright, so the Aurelion gets his team an early kill. I'm going to speed this up a little bit. First thing we're going to be looking at, obviously, is jungle tracking again. Okay. So Vex isn't here, so he can get priority. If he can, he should, because having priority in a range matchup is always pretty good. So we didn't put a ward, again, just like in the bronze matchup, this Aurelion Sol didn't put a ward up early on, so now it might be hard for him to know where the enemy jungler started. Now, obviously, it's very obvious this game. Mordekaiser has already been top lane for quite a bit here, so we know that Mordekaiser is not leashing for a fact. So then we can assume that Hecarim started blue buff. Why is that important? Like I said in bronze matchup, this way Aurelion should know that he should hover here and not here, and then at round 240, Hecarim should be on this side of the map, and then Aurelion Sol needs to be careful, and he should transition his hovering from here all the way to here. Alright, let's see how he plays the matchup, so he can have like a little bit of poke here. Vex is just standing still. Very weird. I don't know what I'm seeing, but... So we have the priority. He is going to get level 2. Gonna speed this up because Vex is just not in lane. I don't know what's happening right now. Vex is focusing the wave. So here, Aurelion Sol. I wouldn't necessarily queue the wave here as Aurelion Sol. What I would do as Aurelion Sol is Vex use her abilities on the wave, so then Aurelion can go for the Vex. Alright? Would be very good. Let's speed this up a little bit. Okay, that's good poke. Now, is he going to push in the wave again, or is he going to let it push towards him? Okay, that's good poke. So we're obviously like pushing the wave a bit as well here. So we're perma shoving into the Vex. Now at this point, like I said, you have to be careful. Hecarim probably killed this entire jungle here. He didn't gank us from here, so it's already past 240. So it's very likely that Hecarim is on Raptors, or he's about to gank us. If you press all, yeah, he already did Raptors. He's already on red buff, right? Hecarim is one of those fast clearing junglers, basically. So he's already here, right? So as Aurelion, we need to be careful, because Hecarim could have perfectly done Raptors into ganking us, because we're always pushed up, right? So that's something Aurelion will have to be careful of. That Hecarim is on top side right now, so now we shouldn't be hovering this side of the map, we should be hovering this side of the map. Once again, hovering and jungle tracking is not something that I see this player doing, the silver player here in this case, compared to the bronze player who also didn't do it, right? So far, quite some similarities. Okay, the Aurelion Sol is poking his opponent more than Talon was, compared to like with the Kiana. Again, he is perma-hovering this side of the map. Very, very scary. He's also getting low on mana here. Now you need to prioritize. If you're getting low on mana, stop hitting the Vex, go for the wave and just shove it in, right? Otherwise, if you can't kill Vex, you end up in lane with 0 mana, and now your wave is in a bad spot and you can't fix it. And Vex is also like, you won't be able to kill her. So now she might just have a good gank setup because your wave isn't shoved in because you lack mana, right? Now it's in a freeze and you can easily get ganked. So as Aurelion, you already had to shove this wave in very, very fast, right? So this, so far, lack of wave mechanics as well. So like I said, a lot of similarities with the bronze laning phase. I'm going to speed this up a little bit. I do expect a Hecarim gank here. So let's see what happens. Always hovering this side doesn't really make sense. And we do get ganked, and he does get killed. Vex gets to shove in this wave, so Aurelion will lose a couple of minions, but he does have teleport, so it's not a complete disaster, right? So he does teleport, and he gets like still like half of the wave. Now you have two options. As the Aurelion Soul here, you have two options. So first of all, we didn't pay attention to jungle tracking, but now we have options. Our wave is inevitably, because Vex pushed it in under our turret, and it held up our next wave, our wave is inevitably, whether we want it or not, pushing towards the Vex. So we only have two options what we do with the wave. We either slow push or we fast push, right? If you need to be somewhere fast, you could argue to fast push this, but it's very unlikely that you can do it in time before Vex gets here and then she might get a freeze. So in order to securely, the end goal here is to crash the wave under the enemy turret so that we can do something onto the map. So how do we do that? We build a slow push, right? So we slow push, we last hit the minions so that we're building a big wave and then we crash it under the turret. Vex is busy farming all these minions and we can do something onto the map, right? Also, if you build a big wave, it's very hard for Vex to hold the wave, right? Because she can't really tank like 15 minions in early game. It will take, like, she will take way too much damage. So here it looks like Aurelion Sol is doing a little bit more than just last hitting. Now he's slowing down the push, this is good. So far, yeah, now we're pushing again. Doesn't really make sense because the next wave that's here is also coming to lane. So this will not crash into the enemy turret. This will be like a freeze here. So now Aurelion can't move because he will lose quite some minions here. Because this is kind of a freeze, right? So if Aurelion moves, he misses a couple of minions here. Also, I don't know why we're moving as Aurelion. I don't know why we're putting this ward on this side of the map right now. Jungle tracking said that Hecarim started here, ended up on this scuttle of the then afterwards he ganked us. So it's very obvious that he resetted Hecarim after that gank. And then like went to this side of the map. So Hecarim should be on the bottom side of the map. Exactly, right? So again, jungle tracking doesn't really make sense to like not push in your wave completely, losing all these minions, to put a ward on the side of a map where Hecarim will never be, right? So it's not necessarily there to like put that ward there very quickly and give up minions, right? It doesn't make sense. So once again, wave mechanics or lack of wave mechanics and lack of like jungle tracking. This ward is a lot better right now. So let's see. So this is something that's very bad. A very important concept. Don't let an opponent hit you. Like this entire circle here that Vex did. Don't let an opponent hit you and wave at the same time. Because at that point, you're getting low and she's getting lane priority because your minions are dying at the same time. So she's killing you and killing the minions at the same time. That is not ideal. Or like it's ideal for her, but not for you. You always, if people have AoE abilities like a Vex, a Syndra, a Victor, you want to stand next to the wave. This way you let the opponent, like you only give them like a limited option. They either get the wave in, like they crash the wave into your turret and get lane priority, or they use their abilities onto you. But if they use their abilities on the wave to push in the wave, you can use your abilities on them to punish them, right? So it's always like a choice for them. Do they sacrifice their abilities on the wave or do they do it on you? Right? And then you can act accordingly. But if you get hit and the wave at the same time, you're in very big trouble. So again, she gets the wave in and Aurelion is low. That's why right now Aurelion is stuck under his turret quite low because Vex multiple times hit the wave and Aurelion at the same time. So bad positioning by Aurelion Sol so far. Alright, now he should just recall. It's a cannon wave, yes. Okay, let's see. Very big mistake so far. You do not always need 100% of mana and HP, especially if you're about to lose a big wave. You do not want to do that. He was forced to recall. It was a good decision because Vex got 6, obviously. So he needed to recall. He was super, super low. And he could do it because it's a cannon wave. Now, you're still going to lose a bit, but you want to minimize the amount that you lose. So you shouldn't stay here for like 100% HP. Right now, we should have already been moving. But we stay until we have 100% HP, 100% mana. And now we're going to lose quite a bit. We're almost going to lose the entire wave. You see? So we only got like this 1 minion basically here. Maybe not even in gold. Yeah, only in XP basically. So that's not ideal. You just, if you're about to miss a wave, make sure you get in lane as fast as possible. You don't need 100% HP and 100% mana. You can only do that if you have like a very good recall timer, where you're not missing anything. Okay, so we're pushing in this wave. Because Vex has recalled, so now we need to fast push this so that if he can crash this under her turret, she misses a lot. However, Aurelion is not pushing as fast as he can, and now this wave will not crash. It will like stay here, because the next wave is already here, right? So now, this wave is not completely under, so Aurelion has to push in the next wave before he can move. So if you pushed it a little bit faster, you could have already been moving. He sees Hecarim onto the map, very, very important. How will Aurelion respond to this? Right now, he doesn't have anything to do here. He can kill like 3 minions, but it's dangerous because Hecarim is here. But maybe he can collapse on Hecarim and Malphite. Let's see what he does. Yeah, okay, this is fine. He's just collecting the minions. Okay. Now, basically what Aurelion needs to do is make sure he doesn't die too much. That's all. He outskills Vex super, super hard. So he just has to make sure he doesn't die. Again, Vex hits the wave and him at the same time. Not ideal. He needs to let her make a choice. Again, she last hits minions and hits the Aurelion at the same time. Vex can just right now, if she E's, ults this guy, he's dead with Ignite, right? And that's exactly what she's going to do. Yeah. She played it not ideal, but still she gets out because she has Flash, and now Aurelion loses another wave. So far it's not going ideal. The main thing I see from this silver Aurelion is that he tanks abilities from his opponent and like while standing in his wave. It's a very, very bad thing to do. So hopefully in the next ELOs we're going to see that that's a thing that is fixed. So let's see, we're going to review 2 more minutes here. So Aurelion pushes in this wave. He can't go for a plate because Vex will already be walking to a lane here. There she is. So you can't really, it's not realistic to go for a plate here, right? First of all, you're overextended. Aurelion doesn't have that much vision here. He doesn't have any vision at all. So he can easily get ganked. And this plate is unrealistic to get because Vex will get here long before he can get the plate. So now he should use his time to move onto the map. That is the correct play. What does he do? He stays to do like 1 auto attack. Again, he walks to here for no reason. He could have already been hovering top lane or bot lane here. He could have done something on the map, moved somewhere, right? So again, not ideal. Just like the bronze player, he stays a little bit too long in lane. He doesn't really think of like moving outside of the lane, which is fine if you don't die in lane. But this Aurelion is dying in lane right now. Okay, so he gets hit by abilities again. Again, look at Vex. She's trying to Q the entire wave and maybe hitting Aurelion, because Aurelion is always hit standing or positioning in a way where she has a chance of hitting the wave and him at the same time. Again, she can just attack this cannon maybe together with Aurelion here. You see how she always tries that? This is unnecessary, taking way too much damage here. Just let the wave crash, take it securely. Again, she hits the wave and Aurelion at the same time. Now her ult is about to come up. If she hits him with ult, he's dead. And that's why he's always this slow. Again, he is dead. And that will be the first 10 minutes of the game, because by the time he respawns and gets into lane, it will basically be 10 minutes. So far, Aurelion is in this laning phase 0-3, while all he had to do is basically make sure he doesn't die. And he does that by doing good jungle tracking so that he doesn't die by the enemy jungle and focus more on the wave mechanics. Whereas this Aurelion Sol was perma basically trying to push and poke Vex when it was not necessary, because he doesn't need to get her low. He just needs to make sure he outskills her, right? And whenever he had time to roam, he chose not to. He chose to stay in lane and not use that time he had. Also, his positioning in lane was very, very bad. Like I said, I'm not here to shit on this player. I'm just like really clearly communicating his mistakes to make sure you guys understand what is happening here and what this player should work on and maybe what you should be working on. All right, that was it for the silver review. Let's move on to the gold laning phase review. All right, so now we're going to be looking at the laning phase from a gold player, basically. So we're going to be looking at the laning phase from a gold Ahri player versus a Katarina. So I'm very curious what this laning phase is going to give us, what she's going to show us, this Ahri, and hopefully there's going to be a big difference from the bronze player, because when we looked at the silver versus the bronze versus silver, there wasn't that much difference basically. So hopefully there's going to be a lot more difference right now between this gold player and the bronze player. So let's see. So we do an invade. Enemy team is also invading. Now let's see how we go to lane. Hopefully as a one team. Okay, this is fine. Okay, laning phase starts. All right. So if your lane opponent is not here, the only thing you have to think about as Ahri here is, okay, if you fast push this, your lane opponent will almost miss nothing, because there's no way she's going to give this entire lane up. She's probably invading here, right? So Ahri should know this. Even if Katarina is late, it's very unlikely that you can shove in this wave, that it crashes, and that the turret can kill all the minions before Katarina is here. So the best way to deny your opponent's minions, if they're not here immediately, is by just last hitting the minions. Now, obviously, you can get you can do like a couple of attacks on the minions, more than last hitting, so that you get like level 2 first and stuff, and that you get lane priority, but don't fast push the entire wave. All right, let's play it out. I'm very curious also to see if we do jungle tracking. So far, being Ahri, you know your team starts the enemy blue, so there's only two options basically. Tryndamere came here, so he has vision. So the enemy is obviously starting red buff, their red buff, or your red buff. There's two options, right? So as Ahri, I would be very, very careful of like hovering this side of the map, right? Because this Kha'Zix could also always do something like red buff into gank with Katarina onto you, right? So try to hover this side of the map here so far. So we see Katarina, if you see Katarina coming from this, the only reason why she would ever be late and come from this side is obviously because she helped like the invade here. So now you should know for a fact that Kha'Zix is here. What I would do if I were Ahri here, I would probably walk towards here, put a ward here, to see if Kha'Zix actually did start here. It's very likely, and to see if he takes raptors as well. That gives very valuable information to your jungle. So that if Kha'Zix takes raptors, your jungler can maybe overstay to like do, not overstay, but can stay to do like gromp and stuff. So let's see. So Katarina at level 1 is useless. That was already not viable what she did. She should have been punished for walking up that much. Look, the attacks, these attacks she does, that's not, like, she shouldn't be able to do that. Ahri is ranged. She needs to punish this Katarina. So let's see how this matchup proceeds. Again, we're level 2 first, level 1. We're not abusing the level 2 versus 1. Now we're like kind of zoning a little bit, but not that much. We didn't really look to surprise her. Okay, so Ahri, better wave mechanics so far. She notices that the next wave is here, so she can't really wait too long with shoving in the wave, so now she shoves in the wave. That shows me that she already thinks of wave mechanics right now. So I like this. Now, the only thing she needs to be careful of is that Katarina might hit level 3 first. It's going to depend... no, okay, Ahri's going to get level 3 first. So Ahri, in this case, she is looking to push here, and I think it is because she wants to get level 3 first. Very good poke here, very good punishment. If I was Ahri, I would just stand on the dagger and bait Katarina into jumping, yeah. She's level 3. Good poke. W. Katarina should be dead here. Ooh. Charm was a bit rushed from the Ahri, but should be no problem. Yeah, okay. Katarina lost the fight. 1. Ahri's wave is bigger, so she takes more damage. Second of all, she was already super low, right? Ahri did rush a little bit, so that's something I didn't really like to see. She rushed things a little bit, but everything before that, like she zoned Katarina quite a bit. She poked her, she punished her for walking up. Already a very big difference compared to the bronze Talon, who didn't even know that he was stronger than Qiyana at level 1, right? And who didn't abuse 2 versus 1. This Ahri definitely, like, even though she didn't look to surprise attack at level 2, she did push her advantage by poking the Katarina and punishing her whenever she walks up a little bit. So far, so good. Now, with this wave, obviously this needs to crash under the Katarina's turret before Ahri can back here, because otherwise she loses a lot of minions. She would lose this entire wave, and it's like more than the wave. It's like an entire wave and 2 minions. So she needs to shift this in. Also, Kha'Zix is here, so she doesn't need to be scared of Kha'Zix ganking her. Again, good wave mechanics. Talon, a lot of times the bronze Talon shoved in waves quite poorly. Katarina is doing quite fine here. Ahri is doing quite fine here. She's shoving in the waves. She has more wave mechanics. Now you get a good recall off. There's happening a lot here, but Ahri can't move. Like I said, she has no mana, low HP. She needs to back to make sure she doesn't fall behind in the 1v1. Because if she stays, she's going to be against a full HP, just full HP Katarina with maybe item advantage. So she needs to back. Okay. Katarina has multiple options right now. Ahri has multiple options right now. Katarina, if she roams right now, she loses quite a bit of CS if Ahri decides not to push this. So right now, if you don't see the Katarina, you shouldn't be pushing, right? Because she might be tricking you into like thinking that she's roaming, and then you shove, but then she comes back to lane and she catches the entire wave without missing too much, right? It's a bit more of an advanced concept, but it's something that you could take into account. So basically right now, if you don't see Katarina as Ahri, you shouldn't push this wave. You should just last hit. So let's see what she does. She does push. We do see Katarina. So this is fine at this point. Okay. Again, she's rushing her abilities a little bit, the Ahri, but you see, at least she's punishing the Katarina a lot more after taking trades. A lot of people, when enemies trade with them and they take damage, they're like, oh shit, I took a lot of damage here, and they're scared and they walk away. Whereas they should be thinking, yes, I took damage from the enemies, but that's because she just did all her abilities. So now it's my turn to trade back. And that's exactly what this Ahri is doing. So I really enjoy watching that. Okay, so let's see what she does. Katarina can't really move because this wave is like already here. It's also not a cannon wave, so Ahri can easily shove this in. This is a good shove because I would assume that Katarina's maybe going top lane because Trinimir's wave is kind of screwed. So I would ping back my Trinimir here and fast push this because I do believe Katarina might go here. Katarinas are crazy, man. They always want to roam. So let's see what happens. Yeah, she does shove this. This is fine. Katarina does end up being mid lane, but that's fine. The shove here. Here we have multiple options. Yeah, we can poke the Katarina, or we could have moved maybe top lane or maybe bot lane, right? There's nothing really to move towards right now. So as Ahri is completely fine to attack the Katarina, to like poke her, but she shouldn't throw her abilities out like that. So we're gonna rewatch that real quick. So we're gonna speed this up a bit. So poking Katarina here is fine, but you need to understand she can't just jump and dodge your abilities, since your abilities are skill shots if you're Ahri, right? So you can poke her with W and with auto attacks, but you need to keep your charm, because if you miss that, you have no safety other than your flash, which is a problem because you're facing a Katarina. And even though she's only level 4, she does have all-in potential because she can run you down all the way from here till here, right? Also, the enemy jungler could be coming now. We don't know where Kha'Zix is, so again, we could be getting ganked. So Ahri here misses her charm. She's very impatient with it. So now she could get all-in. Yeah, she does take a lot of damage. And she... Oh, okay, she survives. Let's see. I want to see that mechanically. How she played that out. But you see like how dangerous it is that you can get run down by Katarina. If I was Katarina, I wouldn't have done that. I would have just chilled, pushing the wave, and then see if I could dive the Ahri. But that's fine, it's good. It's just like some shenanigans. So let's see what happens here. That's a good charm. No, Ahri can't back here. She can't really back because the wave's in a very bad spot. So actually, she should use the fact that Yorick is chasing this Katarina. That like Katarina can't come here. That's why Ahri should walk up and try to shove this in. Yes, Kha'Zix could come. That's a fact. Kha'Zix could come and then you're dead. Still, you have enough mana to do like a Q. I would walk up here and push this in. Because you're going to lose an entire cannon wave here. 7 minions, including a cannon. That's a lot. I would try to do that, especially in this ELO and gold ELO. You can definitely like be greedy like that with wave states to make sure you don't miss too much. Because you can also like always just auto attack and not use your abilities and always try to escape with your ultimate. That's also something you could do if you're really scared of Kha'Zix ganking you. So I would definitely go for that wave. Alright, she didn't, but so far so good, because she has 1 kill up, lost chapter. Now she becomes very, very strong. Also, she has ultimate. Now, what would Ahri be looking for? I wouldn't really be looking for lane kills here, because you're level 6 Ahri, right? Ahri doesn't necessarily accelerate at getting 1v1 kills, especially not versus Katarina, but she does accelerate at roaming and wave clearing. So right now, since you're level 6, you didn't get behind, you even got a hit, Ahri should be pushing in waves permanently and moving onto the map. However, I have a feeling that she's going to be playing 1v1 oriented. But let's see that, I could be wrong. Okay, no, so she already moves immediately, I think, because she shifts in the wave. Katarina tries to contest, but this is lost chapter Ahri versus like, what is this, amplifying longsword Dark Steel Katarina, so she has quite a big advantage here, the Ahri. Shifts in the wave and should be moving right now. Yes, she does move. Okay, so beautifully. Let's see what Ahri does here. If I were Ahri, I would like maybe go here with my team, depending on how healthy they are. They're still quite healthy. I would like put myself in this brush here and try to pick someone off if they walk like this. Because the fight was already kind of over by the time she arrived. But that's fine. So I do like the fact that she moved. Again, shift the wave and move. Maybe top lane you can do something. Yeah, alright. Yeah, you can take the plate because it's very, very low actually. So taking the plate here is fine. That ultimate is super, super impatient. Look, Ahri uses her ultimate here for the Kha'Zix. No, that's like, first of all, if you want to really trade with Kha'Zix there, and this is again, mechanical issues, but I do want to cover it. If you want to attack Kha'Zix here in this spot, what's going to happen is you need to open with charm here. Because otherwise he's just going to walk back. Look, right now he is definitely in charm range. Now you charm QW, right? But what we do is we wait with W. Now he walks back because he gets poked. And now you need to hit a maximum range charm or even burn your ult if you want to hit him. And that's very, very like, yeah, that's hard to hit, right? So there you open with charm. That's like a mechanical issue there that the Ahri does. So now we are getting low on mana. We don't have ultimate. So now I wouldn't really look to trade a lot with Katarina here. I would look to keep my mana and focus on wave states, pushing into waves and getting a good recall, right? Let's see what Ahri does. She's wasting her mana a little bit. Yeah, she's putting herself in a very bad situation. She shouldn't use her mana just like that to like perma shove in the wave. Just wait. You can use your auto attacks, and whenever Katarina like does abilities on the wave and pushes towards you, then you can clear it in like 2 seconds because you have insane amounts of wave clear. And now she just gets picked off. Let's see. But yeah, the reason, so she does get picked up, but the reason why is that if we go back here a little bit, look, let me go back. It's even more. So here, now we have low mana. Now we have to be careful. We can't just do Qs like that. Otherwise, we're going to be super low and Katarina will jump on us because we won't have any mana. Just let the wave in the middle. Let it be in the middle. And let's just do auto attacks on her. And whenever Katarina jumps onto you, you just walk back. Right? So here, just auto attack. We're using all the mana on the wave, and now we're being very, very low on mana. Now we do a W, not on the wave, but on Katarina. So we're basically mixing. We're attacking and the wave and Katarina, which is very hard to do with a very small amount of mana. So now we're splitting our resources, but we already have low amount of resources, so we can't afford to split them. And now we're getting super, super low mana. We get here all in by Katarina, and now we're low HP and low mana, and now we're stuck in lane. So now all you can do is basically recall. It's all you can do. You just recall. Right? Or like Katarina pushed us in, so you could have actually stayed here if you saw that she was pushing, and then farm the wave like from under your turret. Not walk up for it, because she's pushing towards you. There is no reason there to walk up if Katarina clears the wave and it pushes towards you. So once again, this is a mistake that happened, I believe, with the Bronze Talent as well. I don't like to see this. Let's see. So that's basically the 10 minutes. We can maybe cover a little bit longer here. Let's see what Ahri does from this point on. So Katarina might be roaming. She should pick bot lane. That Katarina could go there. Alright. As Ahri just pushing this wave, this is fine. Now it's Ahri, you know, I wouldn't go for this. I would go for this. This guy is obviously overextending here. So after pushing in the wave, we could have already been here. And I would be moving towards here. We have our ultimate as Ahri, right? We have flash, so this should be a free kill, right? So I would definitely go for that kill. This is not allowed. This is illegal. She should never be able to do this, right? So if she overstays, you should punish her. So now that is what I don't like about this Ahri. She's not actively looking for those mistakes. Look, always going for the 1v1, which is... She did do one roam bot lane, but that's it. We're level 8 so far. We only did like one roam. I don't necessarily like that. So we're playing a champion who's not that good at any stage of the game other than shifting in waves and roaming. That's something she does accelerate at. So, and if you get a lead, you can become very impactful onto the map. You do not want to look for 1v1ing on Ahri way too much. You just want to push in waves, move onto the map, look for these opportunities, for these free kills, because you can easily get there with your mobility. Now, instead, what do? We push in a wave and we overstay for a plate we're never going to get because Katarina is already walking back to lane. Ahri does know that, and yet we go for the plate. Keep in mind, Katarina is a champion who wants to run you down. If you're close to her turret, you need to have a very good reason for it. Otherwise, she just runs you down. If the plate is maybe like one auto attack, yes, go for it, and then ult away. It might be worth to do that, right? But here we keep on overextending for no reason. We try to poke a Katarina, but she can just run us down all the way to our turrets. Now, I think, do we end up dying or no? We're just low. So here again, Ahri needs to back because now her wave is in a bad spot. Now, if Katarina fast pushes this, Ahri misses this entire wave basically. Yeah, so Ahri is going to miss most of that wave. So we're going to see probably the entire wave. Yeah, she did move. She did lose the entire wave. And now Katarina gets here first on the fight. So all because, like right now, Ahri could move, but her wave is pushing away from her again. So now all the red minions, the gold and XP for the Ahri, are dying. So this is costing a lot in terms of gold for Ahri. And she's already very far away from the fight, so she probably won't be able to do anything in the fight anyway. So all because she overstayed here to maybe take a plate or be aggressive with Katarina. She got low, had to back, lost a lot of minions, and then Katarina could be first in this fight. So now the blue side here, Ahri, her team, is still like doing fine here, but it could have been a lot worse, and Katarina could have got the triple kill, for example. So this was very, very bad to overstay here, right? Once again, Ahri is more thinking in terms of the 1v1 and taking plates, rather than shiving in waves and actively, on a consistent basis, impacting the map and playing for dragon and stuff. So this is something. So the laning phase is better. Ahri, her mechanics are better. The wave state was better. Her positioning was better with some bad moments with like overextending and stuff. But other than that, like in terms of like standing in the wave, it was a lot less than the previous, like the Aurelian Soul, the Silver Aurelian Soul. So we do see improvement, but still the Ahri is very like lane oriented. She's very focused on the lane, on third plates, 1v1s, when she's playing a roam-oriented champion, right? Now, starting from like this ELO, gold, platinum, and above, you're basically all the way until this ELO, you're playing just Ahri, or you're playing just Talon, or you're playing just like Aurelian. But once you become gold and higher, you are playing Ahri mid lane, you're playing Talon mid lane, you're playing Aurelian Soul mid lane. You have to pick up your responsibility as a mid laner as well. You're not just playing your champion anymore and trying to win laning phase, you're trying to impact the map actively, right? So, with that being said, let's move on to the platinum laning phase review. Alright, so now we will be looking at the laning phase from a platinum player, a platinum Lissandra versus Kassadin player. I do believe this is platinum 2 or platinum 3 ELO, so it's not like platinum 4. So it's like just platinum 2 ELO, keep that in mind. So hopefully we're going to see quite a big difference compared to like the gold 4 player, the silver 4 player, and the bronze 4 player. So let's see what happens. So basically what you want to do, it's Lissandra versus Kassadin. Basically, as Lissandra, she says here, I go ignite with electrocute. I don't necessarily like that, because I do believe that Lissandra is more of a champion who just perma waves clear and moves onto the map. That is also how you can counter scaling champions. If you're playing against Castans, Vladimir kills, you can either perma bully them in lane, or you can impact the game that by the time they scale, by the time they have their items, you already won the game. So basically that you have two options as Lissandra. So I don't necessarily like the fact that she goes for like ignite electrocute when her team would benefit more if she goes something like aftershock actually, and like goes more for like impacting the map. She has a Varus Pike bot lane, very aggressive, also hyper scaling with Varus. So she could perfectly say, okay, I go for roaming and like go onto this enemy bot lane. Now it is a Azrael Janna, so I do believe that's like not easy to gank. So that's maybe why she decided to go electrocute ignite. However, I still would not have done it. Now let's see. So I'm going to speed this up a little bit. First I'm going to look, how is she going to position? How is this Platinum 2 player going to position compared to the other ELOs? So there is a ward here. So she does know Fiddlesticks started, like put his passive here. So that might already give an indication that he starts here or here, obviously, like probably here, but we're going to see. Because basically what junglers like to do, they like to put a ward on the other side of the map, on the opposite side of the map, that's where they start on. Because if they start blue, they want to have vision here to see if they get invaded on the red side. Because this way, if they get invaded and they see it with a ward, they can respond accordingly and go to this side of the map. That's why I tell you, like, if he puts like a ward, his passive here, or a ward here, he probably starts here. So let's see how this matchup plays out. So she's not walking up really in early game. She needs to get priority here. Malphite is already top, so we know Malphite is not leashing. So this again confirms our theory, together with this, that Fiddlesticks does start on his blue buff. So now, like I said, she needs to be careful. She needs to hover this side of the map until like, let's say 240, and then Fiddlesticks will be around here. Because most junglers are around that time there. Okay, so she starts Q, obviously, to poke the Kassadin. She's poking him already quite a bit here. You can also see she's not actively like pushing the wave super hard. She's trying to hold the wave in the middle of the lane here, which is something I really like. Because this way, the wave is a lot longer in the middle of the lane. It's not as fast here. And the faster the wave gets here, the faster Kassadin is in safety. Because then he's close to his turret or even underneath his turret. And then Lissandra can't really trade with him too much. So if you don't push too long here, or like too fast, if you just take it slow, the lane will be a lot longer in the middle of the lane, meaning you can poke Kassadin a little bit more or zone him off from a little bit more minions. So now she gets level 2. Look how aggressive she plays. She immediately walks up. She didn't have to walk back all the way for this minion, but that's fine because Kassadin is playing super passive. So she puts a ward here to see if Fiddlesticks did start here, but yeah, this once again confirms that Fiddlesticks starts this here on blue buff. So she should hover this side of the map until she spots him on this ward. So she should be looking, yeah, she's actively trying to poke the Kassadin here. So this is fine. I wouldn't necessarily, so now what happened? He shoved in the wave under Kassadin's turret that held up his next wave. That means that Kassadin's wave is inevitably, whether he wants it or not, pushing towards him, towards Lissandra. So that's perfect, because then she can just let it push here, hold it here, and freeze the Kassadin, basically. But if she perma pushes him, then she is forced to poke him under her turret. That means that she's in an overextended position where Fiddlesticks can gank her. And on top of that, Kassadin is getting free farm. Whereas if you freeze him, you can also zone him from CS, and you're not like in danger of getting ganked yourself. And you might have chance of your jungler ganking you, actually, because Kassadin has to walk up like this if you freeze. So very important that you understand this. And Lissandra isn't really understanding this right now. She's perma shoving, which is something I don't necessarily like. Alright, so it's two... Wait, I did think we saw Fiddlesticks here. Yeah, we see Fiddlesticks here. Also, like I said, around 240, junglers are on average going to be here. 236, that's basically the exact time. So even if you don't put this ward there, you can basically assume that around 240 you get a gank from this side if you haven't gotten ganked from this side yet, right? So basically for Lissandra here, she has to hover this side of the map. Let's see if she positions accordingly. Yeah, she is like looking to hover this side of the map a little bit more. Now, still hovering this side of the map, like staying in the middle of lane or like hovering this side slightly isn't always the best thing. You can you can commit very hard to hovering this on the map. You could position here, or if the wave is in the middle, you could even position like here, almost in the river, basically. Because this is not really positioning according to your vision. She's even hovering top side right now. I don't know why the vision keeps on switching, but hopefully it won't do it anymore. Fiddlesticks is invading right now. Lissandra could move because she pushed in the wave, basically. So she is the first one to move. She can probably E over the wall, maybe accomplish something. No, okay. She gets back to lane. Let's see if she can freeze on Kasten. No, Janna's here. She could have tried to poke Kasten here and like turn the wave a bit and like freeze it here, but Janna, the enemy support, is here to make sure that Kasten can shove in this wave so that he doesn't lose a lot of CS. So once again, you can see that this is Platinum ELO. Supports are trying to help out their mid laners. So here, Lissandra just have to shove in this wave and now she can recall. No, now she could recall. Why? First she had to shove out the wave so that this wave did not get held up by that wave. Because if that were to happen, then this wave could slow push towards Kasten and then she had to stay to push out the next wave. Now she was able to kill all the minions before this wave was held up by it, right? Now it's just walking freely towards the middle of the lane. Now she can just recall here. And she should. Because Kasten has teleport, she doesn't. And she's low on mana. So if Kasten stays and she stays, she's going to end up low on mana. Kasten might burn all his mana to like get her low, and then he just recalls and teleports back, and then he's against the Lissandra, who is low, with low mana and low HP, basically. So then Kasten has the favorable position in lane. So now she can avoid all of that entire idea, that entire situation, just by recalling. Let's see, but she stays, and that is not ideal, because now she's going to become even more like mana depleted. So let's see. Janna's here again. She opens her up for these opportunities where like the enemy support comes and stuff. Laning phase is so far going good for the Kassadin because he outskills Lissandra and she hasn't been able to impact the map so far. And he still has teleport up, so he's in a very good position right now. Okay, so Lissandra flashes here. Was a bit unnecessarily, like just reasonably think about this. So if we like go, if I fast forward it a little bit here. Yeah, just reasonably think about this. Her teammates are here, here, and here. And look how much damage this fiddle is going to be. Like, does she need to flash for this? No. Because this guy was dead. And now because she flashed and she has no mana and no flash, she even opens her up to get killed by these two guys. Right? So it's dangerous. Now, they're probably not going to kill her. They're probably not going to kill Lissandra here. But she does open herself up when it's not necessary. And she burned her flash when this was already like a secure kill. So basically, now she's in a bad spot unless her team helps her out here with the wave. Yeah, because now she's low mana. Kasten will be able to shove out the wave with Janna because he still has a lot of HP and mana. He has teleport as well, and she doesn't. So this is not ideal for Lissandra. Backing right now doesn't feel ideal for Lissandra, yeah, or she's gonna miss all these minions, so she needs to stay. Once again, low mana, no HP, basically, so how is she going to like play this out? She needs help. Okay, so she does get help, but once again, I call this luck. Being lucky with your teammates. Being lucky that your teammates are willing to help you out. The Spike is actually smurfing it right now, right? But what if he was not? What if Pike wasn't helping out here? Right? She opened herself up where she needed her teammates to bail her out of the situation. And all of that could have been avoided, this entire like risky situation, by just recalling when a cannon wave was coming. That's all she should have done. And now she opened her up to a very bad position. Now she did get good out of it, but she needed her teammates, and that's not ideal. Alright, let's fast forward this. Now, Kasten has teleport, so he doesn't really lose a lot here. He just can take all these minions here. He can even like try to hold this a little bit longer until Lissandra gets into lane, and then maybe he can look to run her down with ult, and maybe with his jungler. Let's fast forward this a bit. Let's see what happens. So now look in terms of CS. Oh, in terms of CS. These are the same minions. So basically Cassidy still has to take 6 and Lissandra still has to take 6. So it's kind of even here. But here it's not even. 37 versus 45. Cassidy has 8 more minions right now. He has a wave and 2 minions ahead on Lissandra. Now she did get 2 assists. But one of that assists, or like maybe 2, I don't know, I don't remember anymore, were because like her teammates helped her out, right? Which is not ideal. So you can't really rely on your teammates. So she needs to be careful of getting all-in, yeah. Cassidy is a very strong all-in champion, so she needs to be careful of that. Right. Cassidy is pushing towards her, so all she needs to do is just collect the wave. But you see how suboptimal this is. This is a roaming champion, Lissandra, and now she can't really roam. Because she played to be aggressive, and it didn't work out. She went with Electrocute Ignite, and it didn't really work out. And now she's stuck in her lane with a Cassidy who got like fairly good to level 6 here. He only died once, and it was like because Lissandra's teammates were basically smurfing it. The Pyke was smurfing it. Other than that, his laning phase is going really, really good, and he's a super good scaling champion. Also, they have Fiddlesticks, Malphite, Janna. They have like super good team fight combo. So Lissandra wants to impact the map here before like we get to that team fight stage. Because if the enemy team gets to the team fight stage while not being behind, they will most likely win the game. So that's why it's so important for Lissandra to impact the map. And that's why, on average, like in general, you pick Lissandra to impact the map. This Lissandra is going Ignite Electrocute to punish the Cassidy. Whereas I don't think that's optimal. And hopefully now, like I said this in the beginning of the game, hopefully now it's starting to make sense to all of you. Because Lissandra right now is stuck in lane. She tried to like punish him a lot. It didn't really work out. And now Cassidy is actually having priority over the lane. And she can't impact the map so far because he's having the wave priority here. And he just shifts it in. Now Lissandra is going to be stuck in her turret. Keep killing these minions. And now this Cassidy gets to move onto the map. Which is very, very suboptimal for Lissandra. If you have a Lissandra, but you're getting out-roamed by Cassidy, that's really, really bad. Okay, now she shoves, and now she... Wait. She's recalling with 500 gold. Super unnecessarily. Super unnecessarily. She should either go for top lane here, or move, put a deep vision somewhere, like a deep ward in the enemy jungle. Something like that. 500 gold, it doesn't really make sense to recall here. It's so unnecessary. And now Cassidy gets another recall timer, or like roam timer, and you know why? Because Cassidy was like recalled first, or like got out of lane first. Now Lissandra recalled way too late, and now Cassidy gets to shove in this wave, and now he can move on to the map. Because by the time he shoves in, he crashes this wave and a deterred. Lissandra is going to be here, but she will have to kill the minions. She can't just move onto the map. You're going to see that. So if he just fast pushes this, he can just move. He doesn't fast push it, unfortunately, that's his fault. He should have fast pushed this and he could move onto the map. Okay, Nico tries something cheesy. Fiddle. These are just shenanigans in the mid lane. These are just jungle shenanigans. Sandra does pick up a kill. Maybe 2. Okay. Alright. These are just shenanigans. I won't comment too much on this because this is very jungle-oriented, team-oriented, but Lissandra played it well mechanically, so that's fine. Now she should shove out the wave and just recall. That's exactly what she's doing. And now we're approaching 10 minutes, but let's look a little bit longer here to see what the Lissandra is going to do, because right now, if you look, she had a lot of impact from that one fight. But if it was not for that one fight, she wouldn't have been that much more impactful than Cassidy. And he even out-roamed her, basically. So she is not playing ideal here in the terms of the laning phase. So she is very team-oriented, but if she plays another game and her teammates are not playing like this, she will struggle a lot more, right? So she's kind of playing very coin flippy right now, very greedy with recalls and stuff. Let's see, right now she should just hard shift the wave and move. Nico is starting Herald, or like looking here to do it. Shove wave, move. That's what Lissandra is. That is understanding your champion. Once you become platinum, you need to understand your champion. Right? You can't just expect to play champion and like do whatever you like. No, you need to understand how your champion works. So this is good. She shoves in the wave, goes for the Herald. This is fine. Is there anything else interesting that happens here? I don't believe so. It's just a Drake fight at this point. So I'm going to end it here, the Platinum review. I'm a bit disappointed with what I saw. I expected a bit more from this Lissandra. But like judging from her setup, her like Thunder Spells and Rune setup, already like showed me a bit how she was about to play. Like, again, very lane oriented. Still in Platinum, we're playing super lane oriented. Going to punish at Keston. That is fine if you're playing something like Akshan. But if you're playing something like Lissandra, you don't want to counter, or like you don't want to prevent Keston from scaling by like punishing him. No, you want to counter him by punishing his teammates and impacting the map, because you can easily out-impact and out-wave clear Kassadin as Lissandra, right? So that's how she should have approached this game. Again, we're thinking outside of the map. How do we win the game rather than how do we win lane? Winning lane doesn't mean anything against the scaling Kassadin. You're a lot better that you impact the map around them, right? And that is what I expected from this laning phase, but Lissandra didn't really show that. Now, let's look at the diamond laning phase and let's see how that will look, because hopefully there we're going to see a lot more impacting the map mentality, right? Okay, I'll see you in a bit for the diamond VOD review. Okay, so now we're going to look at diamond gameplay from a random player again. And this game is going to be a Z game. I have not seen this game again. Like I said in the previous, for the previous ELOs, for the previous players, this is a completely random game. I do not know if it's representative of their playstyle. It might not be representative of the entire ELO, but we're going to see. Hopefully, we're going to see some new concept here that we can look at. And maybe I can even help out the Z or you guys with this review. So once again, I already see a big difference. This Z does run to here. He's already covering his jungle, something I really like immediately. That's already a big difference in my opinion. The fact that he like goes there to he's already doing something. He's standing still, but he's doing something. He is covering his jungle, which is something I like. Also, another thing, why I think I'm going to be pleasantly surprised about this matchup is it's Z versus Victor. Early game, obviously Victor favored, but like at 6, that obviously has kill threat even before that, especially at level 3. Also, on top of that, this Z has like Conqueror, and that shows me that he's thinking about this game. He is facing a Ornn, Viego, like Karma. Like these champs are like kind of tanky, not always easy one-shottable, especially with the Karma being able to give shields to everybody. Victor very likely to go like Zhonya's. Then Ornn obviously just being tanky, Viego also being kind of tanky. So basically, in general, it's good that this guy goes Conqueror. I just like the fact that he is adapting that his playstyle. I'm not necessarily saying that he couldn't have gone something more aggressive like Electrocute or First Strike even or whatever. But I do think that Conqueror shows that he is adapting to this game and that he's thinking further than his laning phase. He's thinking like beyond the laning phase. So let's see. So oh, he is already very like aware that this Victor wins the matchup early on. So hopefully he keeps his Qs. This Q isn't ideal, but maybe he just overestimated his damage there. The Q was good to last hit, but obviously he missed him. This is good if you want the way you outplay a Victor. This Victor doesn't have teleport, so the way how this Z should be thinking is that, okay, this Victor doesn't have teleport. How do I play the Victor? He has Ignite, and Victor has Ghost, but he doesn't have teleport. So how do you play the Victor? You play around this mana pool. Zed doesn't have mana, Victor does. So you play around this mana. So how do you do that? You bait out abilities, or you tank abilities, and then ultimately his mana becomes low. Now you can't tank all the abilities, or you might actually die. So especially when it comes to Victor's Q, you can let yourself get hit by the first part of his Q, but not by the empowered auto attack, because his Q is quite expensive. So if you see it here, it's 45 mana for a Q, and the initial hit is like 70 damage, but the empowered auto attack is 87 damage here at level 1. So the second part even does more damage, especially if you combine them. That's a lot of damage. If you can just tank the first part and not the second part, you will slowly drain this Victor in terms of mana sustain. Also, Zed has 3 potions, so that's kind of good. He has a lot of sustain. So that already shows me he's thinking about this, how this matchup will play out. He is very well aware of who has the priority over the early laning phase here. You can see it in terms of his positioning. So this is something, a very big improvement compared to the previous laning phase, even compared to the platinum laning phase. Here he was a bit greedy. Also, he didn't level up his... Wait, let's see. That was a bit weird though. So Victor gets 2 first. This guy is still 1. Let's see. He's about to get to hit 2 here from another minion. Yeah, so now he gets 2. So now, if he is willing to take this damage from the Victor, also Victor is very overextended here, so maybe he could run down Victor. What he should be doing the Zed here with the Victor is, yes, he takes the damage from Victor, but now he gets level 2 as well, so he should go on to the Victor. Right? Trade back with the Victor. He walks completely back. I would have traded there with the Victor and got him lower as well. Would have been a very good opportunity. There, I do not believe that Zed was aggressive enough. Also, quickly, we're going to look at jungle tracking again to see, like, so 228, we're going to go back to that in a minute, so 230 basically. But let's look at jungle tracking real quick. You might see some people fake leash here in this elo, so it might be a bit harder to do jungle tracking. That's why I would love a ward if I were Zed. No, Ornn is already in lane. It's very unlikely that he leashed. Being in lane at 142, very unlikely that you've leashed. It's almost impossible. It's like most of the time, like around 1 minute 45. If you do it a quick leash, a longer leash like 148, something like that. All right, you can look at your own bot lane to see like they leashed. Look, it's like for 148, right? That's most of the time. Like that's just experience. I know it's by heart, but that's basically like 148. You know. That if they leash, that's when they can get in lane, like the earliest, basically. So now you know Viego, or you assume Viego started here. So now you should be like, Zed is going to get pushed in by Victor in early game anyway. But like around 330, if he's like pushing back towards Victor, he should not be hovering this side. He should be hovering this side. All right. Now let's go back to 230 here. Yes, okay. So now the wave is pushing back. Let's see how he reacts to that. He's just playing safe, just trying to last hit. This is, you can already see this guy knows how to play the laning phase. He knows Victor has the upper hand here, so that's why he's playing safer. And now he's looking for trades. This is not good. Walking up like that isn't ideal. Why? He just used his combo. So I'll go back here real quick and like go in depth on it. Because even for the Zed, it's not super good here what he's doing. So look, he's trying to Q the minion. Wait. It's annoying that the camera always moves. Alright, hopefully it's fixed now. No, it's not. Yeah, now it's fixed. So look what the Zed does here. He does W, E, and Q. All his abilities are on cooldown. And now he walks up to farm this minion. Well, Victor still has all his abilities. So now Victor can just EQ the Zed here. Right? The only thing Victor has to take into account, or like what he has to care about, is that Zed W's to here, and then he maybe runs them down. But Victor still has W. So he shouldn't be too scared of that. Now Victor's like going very deep in here. He could just like from a distance do that. Yeah. And then like Zed would never win this fight. So why? He doesn't have abilities. So this is what happens. Just because Zed didn't have ability. He used his abilities on the wave and then walked up for the minions. That's not ideal. So let's see, Kha'Zix is here. Zed can't walk up. He doesn't have W. He can follow a little bit. Alright, they're just gonna run down this Victor. Viego is here. Let's see what happens. Zed flashes. Okay, they get the Victor. That's good. But the mistake there is basically, again, this Zed had to be bailed out by his Kha'Zix. If you go back here, if you go back to what happened, he gets low because he uses his abilities on the wave. Victor punishes him for it. It's like basically a long trade happens. Zed gets low, and then Kha'Zix comes to run down the Victor here. He comes to like punish Victor. But again, that is just Zed having good teammates. You can't really rely on that. Zed never in the first place should have walked up there without having abilities. So I'm gonna speed it up a little bit here. Yeah. Okay, so Zed kept on chasing. That's fine. Let's go to the mid lane again. Okay. No, Zed should have It's a big wave to share though, it's fine. He's gonna be in a bit of a pickle here, because he's like, Kha'Zix probably could have stayed here to help shove in the wave with Zed, but it was a very big wave. So he would have lost a lot of XP anyway, like shared a lot of XP. So maybe the best thing to do is just to let Zed take the wave, and Kha'Zix just to like re-gank the Victor here indeed. He went in a little bit too soon, but... Okay, this is fine. Again, Victor is not auto-attacking the Zed, but Zed could have already been dead, and now he is even dead. So, very, very bad from the Zed. And they don't even get the Victor. So there, Zed walks up way too much. He doesn't respect Victor. It's as simple as that. If we go back again here. Just look at the Zed. So now he uses all his abilities immediately, and now he doesn't have anything. So now him walking away is fine, but then he needs to keep on walking away. Right now, if he walks in, Victor can kill this guy even without Q. He just does auto attacks. But Victor doesn't do auto attacks. And now he just flashes Qs. Right? And Zed doesn't have anything, so he just dies. So very bad positioning on Zed's part. Okay, let's go back to lane here. So Victor ends up living. Zed moves towards here because Viego was in this jungle. Now he's top lane. Yeah, he should just go here because Zed is losing a lot of CS, so he can't hang around too much. Okay. What Zed should do is right now freeze the wave here, and if Victor walks up, he all-ins the Victor. That's what he should do. Yeah. Because right now, if Zed moves to whatever's happening here, Victor just gets to shove in this wave for free. So if it's not guaranteed for Zed to get a lot of kills here, then like he never should go. Because he's giving Victor a fix in the laning phase, right? He's already doing a lot right now, right? Preventing Victor from having a good laning phase. Moving to here, and then if he doesn't get anything, and Victor gets to fix his laning phase, he lost something in terms of value, right? He shouldn't be, yeah, just walk up here, do a WEQ. Yeah, that's good. Alright, he should be able to get out here. Actually, with the W. Also, he should have hovered a little bit better. He sees an entire fight here with Karma here. It's okay to do stuff like this, but then you need to hover. Yeah, now, no, walk like this, right? He walks like this, but he saw Karma being in the river. Again, positioning, and this is something I've seen across every single ELO so far, is very, very, very bad. The positioning, right? So now he dies just due to his poor positioning. Very, very important to pay attention to that, guys, because I see across all the ELOs, people died due to lack of good position. So let's see what Zed does again. He is currently 0-2, not ideal because Victor is 2-1, and Victor's passive obviously gives him stacks and lets him upgrade his abilities, and Victor outscales Zed. So far, this Victor is winning the laning phase by far. Also in terms of CS, Zed is quite a lot behind. So let's see how Zed gets back into this game, or maybe he doesn't. We'll see. Alright, so now we just have to last hit the minions here. Now, we can't fast push this, because we're never going to crash that before Victor gets back into lane, because he's here, right? Even if it's like here or here, doesn't matter. It's a cannon wave, right? So Victor also, it depends on like how fast Victor recalls. He could have been here. You can't always know that exactly if you don't see him recall, right? So you can't shove in this wave. You can shove it in, but not fast push. You slow push in this wave. So right now we just slow push. We make sure we build a big wave, and then like Victor needs to farm the entire big wave, and Zed can move on to the map. That is why we pick Zed as well. Not just to assassinate our lane opponent, but also to roam. I don't necessarily like that. I don't necessarily, unless you can dive here, but your jungler isn't here. So I don't necessarily like it. We're level 5 Zed without our jungle. Diving this, I don't necessarily like it. Let's see. He is close to level 6 actually, so he might get level 6 if he takes some XP off the wave here. Also Twitch. Nah, Twitch is invisible. I don't really see this working too good. Yeah. Again, and Zed dies. And again, this is just rational decision making. If we look at it from here, if you were here, right, it's a bit bugged, I guess, yeah. At the moment we are here, Kha'Zix is top lane, These two guys are here, obviously, right? Like, we're going to wait until they're in lane. Yeah, they're here, full HP. Like, this guy is kind of low, but you're Zed with no ultimate so far. We don't know where Viego is, and your jungle is on top side. I don't like diving. I like roaming in general. And most of the time I roam when I have my jungler on that side of the map. But it's not a necessity. If the enemy bot lane was here, you could definitely roam towards here, even if your jungler is top. But diving is something I almost never do whenever my jungle is not on the side that I'm diving. If my jungler cannot support me, I would not look to dive, right? So that is why everything went wrong here. Look at Zed, he goes here. He can't kill them off because he doesn't have ult. He can't just engage onto them. Viego is here, and now he needs to escape, but he dies. Right. And let's see what Zed... So now he's just throwing the game a bit. And now again, he loses a lot. Victor gets plates in the meantime. So this is not ideal. Okay. So Zed is back into lane. See, Victor gets to move first to whatever fight is happening in the bot lane here. If I were Zed, I wouldn't even go here. I would not even bother to go here. I wouldn't. I would just shove in the next wave, take a plate. That's what I would do. He is turbo behind right now. 1-3 versus 2-1 Victor. And in terms of gold, in terms of plates, 3.1k gold for the Victor, 2.4k gold for the Zed. So basically Victor has like a 600 gold lead already. Zed can't afford to go for these things and like hope for the best. He has to do something consistent. So shove in wave, take a plate, very guaranteed gold to make sure you at least you don't fall even more behind. So let's see. Zed goes in here. He gets an assist, but once again you see, very, very risky. Alright, and now he's low, he can't shove in the wave. Karma even gets the shit done on the Kha'Zix ultimately. None of this is ideal. Yeah, and now he almost ends up dying again. And what did he achieve? Almost nothing. In terms of gold, again, yes, he got an assist, but still, look at the gold difference, still like 400 gold. Not ideal because he had to risk almost his life for it. Whereas he could have closed the gap even more by just shoving in the wave and taking a plate. It would have literally given him more gold. So again, he is risking all the time. And at this point, the laning phase is basically done. Let's see if there's... Okay, he's about to kill the Victor, so let's look at that. Let's give him some credit as well, obviously, because we're looking a lot at the mistakes from people. There's no point in like looking at good games. We're looking at the mistakes in these ELOs to see what do they have to improve upon, right? So let's see what he does here. Is it going to be Kha'Zix gank? Victor overstays basically for the plate. Doesn't respect his vision, and now Kha'Zix gets a free gank onto the Victor, and Zed will pick up the kill, I assume. Yes, indeed. So again, this is not really a solo kill. This is just like having good teammates, relying on your enemies overstepping and overstaying, basically. Not ideal to... This is not consistent. You won't consistently get this in your games. This will just be very, very coin flippy. So I wouldn't be super happy if I was a Zed about this game. Once again, we play for improvement. So there's a lot you can focus on. And hopefully... you guys learned a thing or two from this game, right? And hopefully from all the laning phases we covered. So there are some differences in between there. Zed was a lot more aware of his positioning versus the Victor compared to like a lot of other matchups. He was playing a bit more safe. He respected his opponent a little bit more. But in general, still a lot of points to improve. So hopefully we did a review of every single laning phase and like bronze ELO, silver ELO, gold ELO, platinum ELO, and now diamond ELO as well. Hopefully you guys learned something from that. I was planning on maybe like looking at my own laning phase and including it in this video, but I do believe this video is already insanely long, so I will probably make a separate video about that. All right, guys? Now, if you've gotten to this point of the video, to the very end, you probably didn't, but if you did, thank you so much for being here. It means a lot to me that you watched the entire video. Thank you so much. If you enjoyed the video, if you're hyped for more content like this, feel free to leave a like and subscribe for future content. And hopefully, I'll see you in my next video. Bye.